the second book of your trilogy, The Mirage of Social Justice, attacks the idea of social justice as, in a sense, a nonsense. You attack both the word social and the word justice in this context. Social you describe as, in a sense, a word that merely means not in front of any phrase, and justice you say is inapplicable to the sort of society in which people are free. Perhaps you'd like to expand on that.
Well, justice undoubtedly is an attribute of individual human action, something which ought to guide what the individual does. Now, nothing which the individual can do can secure an order of wealth or distribution of wealth which corresponds to our wish to see people reviewed justly or according to a reward appropriate to their improvement. The whole nature of the market system presupposes that people are rewarded for success and not for intentions.
Now, I have to then say, let us take a society in which nurses are paid much less than striptease dancers. I wonder if that society will accept that situation indefinitely or permanently, because people will tend to feel that it is immoral, unjust in some sense.
But you see, you have here now the conflict between the different kinds of moral traditions which I spoke. It is certainly objectionable to our instincts. I dislike it. And yet I am convinced that if we are to maintain a society which makes use of much more information than any individual has, we have to put up to it. But we are up against this very strong and in a sense justified resistance of our instincts. And that's our whole problem. A society which is efficient cannot be just. And unfortunately, a society which is not efficient cannot maintain the present population of the world. So I think our instincts will have to learn. We shall perhaps for generations still be fighting the problem and fluctuating from the one position to another. I know exactly why the majority of people do not like the kind of relative status which a free competitive society produces. But every time they try to correct this, they start on a course where to apply the same principle universally destroys the whole system. And I think for the next, perhaps the next 200 years, we'll be fluctuating from the one direction to the other, trying to satisfy our feeling of justice and leading away from efficiency, getting to finding out that in trying to cure poverty, we really increase poverty, then returning to the other system, a more effective system to abolish poverty, but on a more unjust principle, and how long it will have to last before we learn to discipline our feelings, I can't predict. But let me add to this. I am personally convinced that what we call our moral tradition is altogether a discipline on our instincts. And we may have to learn a further discipline on our instincts, which will force us to suppress the feeling that certain differences of reward are unjust. And we'll have to recognize that only a system where we tolerate grossly unjust differences of reward is capable of keeping the present population of the world in existence.